Hello, everyone. Welcome to the iWoman Report. It is a sad day in America. Who would have thought after 50 years, a woman's right to make a decision about what she does with her body could be stripped away by a single vote? It is the moment that we have all been bracing for, and it's finally here. Roe v. Wade has been voted down by the Supreme Court, overturning the constitutional right to an abortion. What does this mean? We're going to break it all down for you today. Plus, we do have an update on a story that we've been following closely over the past few weeks. The search for Ty J. Baker, the 23-year-old college student from New York City who went missing after she took a bus to Washington, D.C., has been found. I sat down with her mother in an exclusive interview to talk about the circumstances surrounding her disappearance as well as her current condition. We're going to get to that later in the show, but right now, let's talk about abortion. Following months of protest and outrage after a draft decision was leaked in May, the Supreme Court has officially done the unthinkable, determining the fate of women's abortion rights.
Today, the Supreme Court of the United States expressly took away a constitutional right from the American people that it had already recognized. They didn't limit it, they simply took it away. That's never been done to a right so important to so many Americans, but they did it.
This morning, the Supreme Court officially overturned a woman's constitutional right to have an abortion in a 6-3 ruling. What does this mean? Well, it means states will now get to individually decide whether abortion should be legal, and more than half of the states, 26 of them, are likely to restrict abortions.
American women today have less freedom than their mothers. It's such a contradiction. Yesterday, the states cannot make laws governing the constitutional right to bear arms. And today, they're saying the exact reverse. The hypocrisy is raging, but the harm is endless.
Today's decision comes on the heels of almost 2 months of protesting around the country since that draft opinion leaked on May 3rd. Unfortunately, the heated calls from women and many men around the country was not enough. The Supreme Court took away the fundamental human right that will disproportionately affect women of color and women in low-income communities. Women have fought for many years just to have these rights stripped away. A complete step in the wrong direction, a step toward further controlling women and taking away their bodily autonomy. Let's think about this. IVF, miscarriage care, medically necessary abortions are now all at risk following this decision. Lawmakers are also fearful that this could pave the way for revoking other rights that the Supreme Court has granted, such as gay marriage. On June 14th, Vice President Kamala Harris held a roundtable discussion where she talked with experts in their field about what the outcome of an overturned Roe v. Wade may look like and how we should all prepare the American people.
I have a concern that if Roe is overturned, states with abortion bans could potentially restrict IVF if their definition of life begins at the point of fertilization. If Roe is overturned, we believe that states with abortion bans from the moment of fertilization could potentially restrict specific types of contraception, in particular IUDs, and the so-called morning after pill. I do believe that overturning Roe could clear the way for challenges to other fundamental rights, including the right to use contraception and same-sex marriage. Many of the states that have passed trigger ban laws are also the states that are passing laws to restrict trans rights, gay rights, and the freedom to vote.
And this brings me to my question of the day. Should the Supreme Court have the power to overturn settled rulings? What do you think? Let us know what you think. You can head over to our Instagram at iWoman TV to take the poll and leave your comments below. I, for one, think that the Supreme Court has no business, and neither do states, neither does anyone, in fact, who's not of reproductive age and who's not a woman. They should have nothing to do with a woman's right to choose what she does and doesn't do with her body. I'm for one appalled, as I know many of you are out there today, and it just doesn't make sense that just the day before this decision, the Supreme Court decided that it could make a decision on whether or not people carry concealed weapons. So you can carry a gun, hide the gun, that can kill many people, but you can't have an abortion. It's one of those things that make you go, as Arsenio Hall might say. Well, despite the devastating outcome, activists are still working hard to ensure that women do have access to safe abortions across the country, something that New York Governor Kathy Hochul says will always be the case in the home of Lady Liberty.
It is a day, a dark day, for women across this nation who have long fought for the right to have control over their own bodies. A fight that my grandmother's generation had to fight, my mother's generation, my generation, my daughter's generation, and apparently now my brand new granddaughter's generation. This is repulsive at every level to think that the Supreme Court says there is absolutely no constitutional right to an abortion, something that we've had in our state since 1970, for our nation since 1973, Roe v. Wade. So this is turning back the tides of time of progress, and it's frustrating, but this is New York. We're going to stand up, continue to fight back, just as we did when the news of this case leaked months ago, that this could actually happen in our nation. We now require insurance companies to cover abortion services. I added $35 million to our state budget to make sure that we had the resources necessary to expand services, because New York, with the Statue of Liberty standing in our harbor, will always be a safe harbor, a place for women in search of freedom, freedom to control their own body, will be able to come to our state, the state of New York.
13 states have trigger laws banning abortions, but only Kentucky, Louisiana, Missouri, and South Dakota will go into effect immediately. Idaho, Tennessee, and Texas also have trigger laws that will go into effect in 30 days. And the rest of the 13 states' trigger laws require government process to go into effect. Women who have appointments in these states need to call their clinics, as they will be able to help them find the best next steps.
Look, abortion is still legal in many states, and Planned Parenthood will do whatever we can to get you the care you need. And we will not stop fighting. Our movement will fight for rights stronger than Roe. We will secure abortion access for all, free from bans and restrictions, free from shame and stigma.
Women across the country will continue to fight for this right and be supporters of those who are stuck in states that have stripped them of their bodily autonomy. Right now, we do want to switch gears. We want to give you an update on a story that we first told you about on our last episode about a missing college student from Brooklyn. You may recall 23-year-old Tajay Baker, who disappeared at the beginning of May when she took a bus to Washington, D.C. from New York to make posters for a woman that she met online. Her mother lost all contact with her on that day before getting a short phone call a month later asking for help. We are so thrilled to tell you tonight that Tajay Baker has been found alive, and she's been reunited with her mother. In an exclusive interview, I spoke with her mother, Taquana, as well as New York City Councilwoman Darlene Neely, about Tajay's disappearance and the fight they had to endure to find her when everyone else ignored her cry for help.
Taquana, thank you, first of all, for sitting down with us, and thank you, Councilwoman Neely. That saying that it takes a village is a really strong saying, but this time you feel like the village failed you, and your daughter, you found her over the weekend on your own after searching for almost 2 months, a month and a half, right?
Mm-hmm. A month and a half.
Tell me what that was like.
Well, when I first saw her, I knew it was her, but she didn't know it was me, and I screamed her name, and she did like this, like she couldn't believe it, and then I hugged her, and I just told her to get in the car, and then we just took off to go home.
Where did you find her finally? Was she just walking on the street? Was she in the woods? Because you were looking everywhere.
She was hiding, like literally on the streets from whoever had her captive. And when I found her, she was like, like between like a tree and like overpass where there's a lot of trees, and like there's a bus stop there, and she was seen like at different bus stops. So that's how it made it obvious to me that she's getting around through the bus. So I checked all buses. So I finally checked this bus that morning and had a tip from a transit worker out there. I think it's Metro Tech that's out there in Maryland. I had a tip from one of their workers, and she helped me, and I found my daughter.
You were certain from the beginning that this was not something your daughter would ever do on her
Yeah,
own.
yeah, I believe from day one, and it was like nobody believed me. My mother and them knew what it was, but everybody else is like nobody believed me. The cops didn't even really care about the fact they like I said, they diverted me for a whole 2 weeks. If I wouldn't have stuck to my guns and did what I had to do and what I knew was right, she would not be found till this day. If I went off of what the cops was doing, or if I left it in their hands, I couldn't leave my daughter's life in their hands.
It almost felt like we knew she was going to find her daughter. But imagine how many mothers never was able to see their child again.
Is there any doubt in your mind that this was intentional? They were trying to take your daughter?
This was a whole setup from the beginning. This was a whole set. I knew that. My daughter just didn't know that. They played her, they lured her, and they sent her to the wolves.
Thousands of young girls and women are still missing out there.
Yes.
Thousands. What advice do you have for any other mother, father, parent, community that is in the same shoes?
Do your parently duties and follow your heart and follow what you know that's right. Don't go on nobody else's instinct, because nobody's going to be out there more than you, and nobody's going to do more than what you're going to do for your kid.
How can we help you? I understand you have a GoFundMe set up. You need a little help right now.
Yeah, I need to find like a place so my daughter could do some healing and like maybe talk to somebody there or something, like a vacation, a Zen vacation or something. Like she said, a holistic place.
So we are trying to be that village. If one hurt, we all hurt. And that's why that GoFundMe will be so important right now.
Thank you both. I appreciate it. You can watch the full interview with Taquana Baker on iWoman.tv. We also have the GoFundMe that's been set up for Tajay on our screen right now. That link is below. Make sure you visit it if you feel so inclined. This family's going to need a lot of support to help them get back on their feet. Taquana Baker shared that she lost her job in the search for her daughter. Her daughter also is going to need some mental health help as well as some medical help. So anything that we can do as a village to support this family, we will continue to do our part, and we'll also continue to keep in touch with the Baker family. We wish them the absolute best. Before I leave you, I do want to leave you with a few thoughts. Women have been fighting since the beginning of time to have rights, to be heard, to have a place in society, in the boardroom, on athletic teams, leadership roles, to be treated with respect, just to be equal. What happened today was a major step backwards. To strip away those rights by a single vote, where does it stop? By overturning Roe v. Wade, the Supreme Court of the United States of America has taken a fundamental right away from women. The debate over abortion has never been about being pro-life versus pro-choice. It has always been about controlling women and policing what she should and should not do with her own body. Women are not a thing that you can control. We are the key to life. We are leaders. We are beautiful creatures. And it's important that we remember that. Women are not the only ones who will be impacted by the Supreme Court's decision today. We are all affected. Our husbands, our sons, our daughters, and future generations will all be hugely impacted. And to be clear, taking away a woman's constitutional right to have an abortion, should she so choose to do so, in no way stops abortions. Tragically, it only stops safe abortions. All the more reason for us to continue to stick together, ladies. We at iWoman TV will continue to fight and will always fight to preserve the rights of women for such a time as this. I want to thank you all for joining us for this iWoman report. Everyone, please stay healthy, stay happy, and stay safe.